Welcome everyone! This is your orientation for Module 2, and we are about to build on everything you learned in Module 1 to give you a brand new, really powerful way to understand art. So, let's just dive right in.
So let's start with a big question, one that's really at the very heart of this entire module. What is the difference between just looking at a piece of art and truly, deeply seeing it? Well, the difference is having the right tools to go deeper, and that is exactly what this module is all about.
Think of it like this. In Module 1, you built a really solid foundation. You learned the what, how to define art, how to describe it. But now, in Module 2, you're getting a serious upgrade. We're moving from the what to the how. We're shifting from just describing what you see to actively analyzing and applying concepts. This is that big jump to higher-order thinking, and trust me, it's going to sharpen your critical skills for the rest of this course. And to make that leap, we're going to equip you with 5 very distinct philosophical lenses. Seriously, think of them like 5 different pairs of glasses. You put one on, you see the world one way. You put on another, and suddenly everything looks completely different. And our guides for this are 5 of the greatest thinkers in history. And just look at this timeline. We're talking about a span of over 2,000 years, from ancient Greece all the way to 19th century Russia. I mean, it's incredible. But what's really amazing is how their ideas, these core concepts about beauty and art, are all still so relevant and so useful for us today.
So first up, we have Plato. Now for him, the world we see is just a shadow of a perfect, true reality he called the forms. So art, since it imitates our world, is just a copy of a copy. It's twice removed from the actual truth. And because of that, Plato is pretty wary of it. He thought it could be dangerous because it appeals to our emotions instead of our logic and reason.
But then you've got Plato's own student, Aristotle, who had a completely different take. He said, no, that ability to stir emotions, that's actually art's greatest strength. He believed that art lets us experience powerful feelings like pity and fear, but in a safe, controlled environment. This leads to a kind of emotional cleansing he called catharsis, which he argued is actually really healthy and essential for us.
Okay, let's fast forward over 1,000 years to St. Thomas Aquinas. He saw beauty as a direct reflection of God's perfection. For something to be truly beautiful, he said it needed 3 things: integrity, a kind of wholeness, proportion or harmony, and clarity, a sort of radiance or brightness. So for Aquinas, looking at a truly beautiful piece of art literally elevates your soul and points you toward the divine. Then along comes Immanuel Kant, and he completely flips the script. He argues that beauty isn't actually in the object, it's an experience that happens inside your own mind. And the key here is that we appreciate it with what he called disinterested pleasure. That just means we find it beautiful for its own sake, not because it's useful or because we want to own it. It's beauty for beauty's sake.
And finally, we've got the great novelist, Leo Tolstoy. For him, art is all about communication. It's a way to transmit emotion. He used this really vivid word. He said that good art infects the audience with the exact same feeling the artist had. And when that happens, it creates this powerful, shared experience that can unite all of us.
All right, so now you've met your 5 philosophical guides, but here's where it gets really fun, seeing how these different lenses actually work in the real world. So let's move on and put them to the test with a single piece of art. Okay, I want you to picture this. In the middle of a city square, there's a huge modern mural. It's challenging, it's maybe a little controversial, and its subject is social inequality. So how would our 5 philosophers react to this thing? Well, Plato would probably be deeply suspicious. He'd worry that this mural is just stirring up public anger and resentment, all emotion, instead of encouraging a calm, rational discussion about what true justice really is. He'd see it as a dangerous distraction. Aristotle, on the other hand, would see incredible value here. He'd argue that the mural is providing a vital public service. It's a safe, constructive way for the whole community to confront and process their shared feelings about injustice. You know, a perfect example of social catharsis. Now Kant, he would tell us to take a step back from the political message for a second. He'd say, forget about social inequality. Just look. Look at the lines, the colors, the forms. Does the composition itself create a feeling of harmony in your mind? For him, the aesthetic judgment is totally separate from the moral one. Tolstoy would have a much simpler test. For him, it all comes down to the emotional connection. Was the artist's feeling of outrage genuine? And does the mural successfully infect you, the person looking at it, with that exact same feeling? If you walk away sharing that emotion, then and only then is it successful art. And finally, Aquinas would look at it through his theological lens. He'd ask about its formal qualities. Does it feel complete? Is it well-balanced? He might actually see a clear, well-composed artwork as a reflection of a divine desire for order, almost like a visual prayer for justice and harmony to be restored in society.
So, as you can see, these lenses show us that art isn't just one thing. It does a whole lot of different jobs in the world. And that brings us perfectly to the next key idea for Module 2, understanding the functions of art.
We can basically group these jobs into 5 main categories. Art can be deeply personal, an outlet for the artist. It can be social, like that mural criticizing society. It can be physical, like architecture that literally shapes the world we live in. It can be cultural, helping to preserve traditions. And it can be spiritual, connecting us to something bigger than ourselves.
And these functions, they're not separate boxes. A single artwork can serve many functions all at once. Take the incredible tonalic weaving of the Tiboli people in the Philippines. It serves a cultural function by passing down ancestral designs. It has a spiritual function because weavers believe the designs come to them in dreams. And of course, it's deeply personal, reflecting the unique skill and soul of the person who made it.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you? Well, by combining these philosophical lenses with an understanding of art's different jobs, you go from being just a passive viewer to an active analyst. You now have a serious toolkit. So let's lay out the exact method you're going to use.
This is your roadmap, especially for that upcoming graded essay. It's a 4-step process. First, you observe a piece. Then you apply one of the lenses. Ask, how would Aristotle see this? Third, you identify its functions, and from there, you build your own insightful argument. See? You're moving way beyond just saying, I like it, to explaining how it works and why it actually matters.
So remember this number, 5. You are now equipped with 5 distinct, incredibly powerful lenses. That's 5 new ways to look at any piece of art, any painting, any sculpture, any film, and see it with a depth and a clarity that you just didn't have before.
So, I'll leave you with one final question to carry with you as you start your assignments. When you look at art, where do you think its meaning really comes from? Is it in the thing being shown, or is it in the emotional and intellectual experience that it creates inside of you? Your answer to that is going to shape your entire journey through this module. Good luck, and I can't wait to see what you all discover.